Just tuning in, it's the behind the scenes live stream. I'm Justin Barkley. You're about ready to get two radio shows back to back. And again, you get to see the behind the scenes of what we're doing here. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Getter, Rumble, YouTube, even until we're taken down in those places. We are doing the live radio show of News Radio Wood 1300 1069 FM. It is called West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley. That's me. Then you get the after show. So buckle up. This is going to be a good one. At least it appears that way. All right, let me make sure we're live on Rumble. Okay, here we go, folks. Stand by.
Bills. Enter it now at woodradio.com.
Happens in Holland, Sparta, or (616-774-2424). That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
Welcome in, folks. It is another glorious day, just 15 days away from Election Day and the reckoning that is coming here across the country. But we've got some news on this, some new data for the folks that like the science and the data. We've got some of that, enough to make the Whitmer blush. You know how much she loves science and data. We are, well, let's just say it this way. We are deep in it, folks. And of course, things are tightening up. The surge is on.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now today's Big Three.
It's the stories that matter most. You'll be talking about these around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are. These are those stories. Powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. You know, for the longest time, I told you, hey, there's never been a better time to buy and refi. People took advantage of my warning. They heeded the call and they saved thousands. Well, there's still a chance for you to do the very same. You put a little bit more money back in your pocket. You know, everybody's different. They have custom solutions for everyone. How can they do that right now? And times are full of turmoil. Give them a call. They'll walk you through, let you know whether they can help you or not in just 5 minutes. 616-974-9105. Or go online to hhmlending.com and just call them and tell them, you know what, thank you for supporting this program.
Number one.
Dixon is surging, folks, and so are Republicans nationwide. Here in Michigan, the race for governor is tightening up. In fact, a new poll shows Dixon and Whitmer in a dead heat over the weekend. In fact, Friday, after I left, walked out the door, and there it was. I couldn't believe my own eyes. Real Clear Politics, not a conservative, certainly not a Republican-leaning type of website. They have Michigan now projected to go red. And now polls show Republicans flipping key metrics in 2022 midterm elections all across the country. In fact, yes, as we keep an eye on all of it, we'll give you the latest. I'll break some of this down here in just moments, but news you probably won't hear anywhere else. In fact, Nancy Pelosi doesn't want you to hear about it. We'll tell you why coming up. Yes, former President Trump, some might just call him President Trump, announcing Saturday he would probably have to, quote, run for president again, setting up a possible matchup between him and, of course, Joe Biden. A rematch, 2024, declaring that former Trump administration, I don't know. It's hard for me to say. That's also hard for me to say president. That's why I call him Resident Biden. It just something feels off about that. I don't know about you. Anyway, during a rally in Robstown, Texas, this report from the Epoch Times, Trump told a crowd, I ran twice, I won twice. I did much better the second time than I did before. And now, in order to make our country successful, safe, and glorious again, I will probably have to do it again. Another victim of COVID? Well, let's be completely and perfectly honest here, folks. That's how they present this, but it really isn't COVID who caused these issues. It was politicians. Little bit of a preview of our Rona report to come from the high priest of health himself, St. Anthony of Wuhan, Mr. Booster, a patron saint of pandemics, Tony Fauci. There is some Fauci news I want to give you coming up in a second, but now they say student test scores have fallen across the country. Results from what is known as, quote, the nation's report card, released, giving the fullest picture yet of how the shutdowns. I don't call it the pandemic because that's not what caused this. It was the overreaction or the reaction to the pandemic or the virus from China. The Wu flu that caused this. In fact, it was Whitmer. Governors across the country like Whitmer who caused this. We are now reaping what we've allowed them to sow. This is purely natural. This is the law. This is how it works. You reap what you sow, folks. When you shut down schools, when you shut down economies, you now see the high price of everything. In fact, we have some startling statistics that we're going to run through coming up here in just a little bit about how just close we are really to the edge. We are dangling by a thread right now. You see the cost of everything going up, and I don't think that it's going anywhere anytime soon, especially after you hear the latest story that I've got for you when it comes to supply of one particular thing that we need for everything. Math scores had some of the steepest declines in 50 years of testing. Overall scores fell to levels not seen in 2 decades. Your kids were punished. Your kids were made to wear masks. Your kids were told they couldn't go to school, and when they did, they forced this weird, radical sexuality on them. They forced some sort of weird, radical I don't want to say it's not. Let's call it. It's fake diversity. Racial teaching on them, division, divisive. That's the word I was looking. That's not diversity. It's Division. That's what they've been forcing on kids. And of course, parents learned about it for the first time during the pandemic, a lot of them, because they were finally around. They could hear what the kids were being taught. They were a little more engaged in what the kids were being taught. Your kids are being preyed upon on a daily basis in these schools. Now, I'm not saying all teachers are bad. Please don't get it twisted. What I am saying is that there are a few, and there is a solid attempt from the folks at the Michigan Department of Education. We're seeing this. In fact, we've heard the reports. Whitmer hasn't even come out and commented on it, but she's certainly allowed it to happen. What they're teaching in our schools is unthinkable. The pornography, the sexually explicit things that we're seeing, absolutely unthinkable. And again, we're talking about our children here. And the test scores down once again. Math, particularly. Well, you know why? You know why the math scores are so down? Parents are having a hard time because, it just don't add up, folks. None of it. It don't add up. You think about it. You put 2 and 2 together. Now they're telling you it's 5. No, I don't think so.
That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio 1300 and 106.9 FM.
We will dig into some of the polling. Speaking of numbers, the science and data they don't want you to hear. We'll dig into some of that coming up in just a little bit as well. You need to hear about this. I don't know if I call it a red wave. I call it the incoming red surge happening all across the country, particularly here in Michigan as well. You're going to want to hear the details of this on the way. Plus, parents are getting together today. Families fighting back. Couple of stops on the Empowering Families, Protecting Children bus tour. 2 this morning in West Michigan, 1 at 11, Tudor Dixon, and others stepping up. Of course, you'll be able to meet the candidates, hear about the proposals and how you can fight back. 11 a.m. this morning at Lighthouse Baptist Church in Holland. 11 a.m. this morning, and then I will be in Muskegon at the 4 p.m. bus stop. That's happening at Shiloh Tabernacle in Muskegon. Lots to do, folks. Lots to keep you up to date on. We'll do it all coming up next.
Informative, engaging. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull safe.
All right, folks, good morning. Wow, what a crew this morning. Keep sharing this thing. We got to get the stories out there. Trump running again, it sounds like. A story you're not hearing anywhere else. The U.S. troops on the Ukraine border. We'll talk about this, why I think it's something we all need to be concerned about. You're just not hearing about it anywhere else. We'll get into all of that in the conversation and the discussion to come. And yep, the incoming red surge. We'll go through the numbers on that. Tyler, good morning. Anything else you want to talk about? Let me know in the chat. Laura, Judy, Carrie, good to see you. As always, my friend. Matt, Colette, Bruce, Terry, Andy, Karen. Anybody coming to Muskegon with me this morning? Or this afternoon, rather. Anybody going to be showing up in Muskegon? Love to see you. Let's check on the Rumblers. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Mary Kay, hello, Mary. Nancy K, Joy, Brumby's Fend, Blue Angel, Tennyson, Charmaine, Roxanne, such a time as this. I know you're going to be out in Muskegon today. Looking forward to seeing you. Andrew Stuff, MJ Gerwig, Tom Always Learning, Bonesman. Lots of folks jumping in today on the Rumble, no matter where you are, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, YouTube. Click share, click follow. Make sure you do all of those things because we got to get the word out. R. Reagan. Kay Hansen, Jackie Hart, Additive over on the Getter this morning, which is looking lively as usual. We are in the middle of our 21 days of prayer as well. So that continues. And this would be technically, I believe, day 7. Is that right? Yesterday was day 6. So that does seem correct. Going live, going live, going live. All right, put that up there. We got everything rolling. Got everything rolling, folks. All right, I don't want to schedule that. I just want it pinned. There we go. And for those supporters, the members on Locals, if you got something you want me to see, I have started the chat over on Locals so you can get directly to me with the chat over on Locals. That thing's fired up and ready to go. All right, stand by. Here we go, folks. Lots of great stuff happening. We get the text messages coming in. You can always text me at 616-636-1676 in the iHeartRadio app. If you click that microphone button, you can just sound off. You can rant, you can rave, you can ask a question about anything that's going on. We just heard our news folks report that this guy over in the UK, Rishi Sunak, set to be the next UK prime minister. Why that's bad news, I have a full detailed story on. I don't know if we get to it during the full show here. Certainly the after show. I've got to get you the details now, the rundown of the science and the data. How'd you like that? New poll showing voters favor Republicans in midterm elections despite Dems' slight edge in September. The polls are shifting. First of all, I told you they would. This is what when Detroit News, the Detroit News has now since come out and endorsed Tudor Dixon. When they came out with a crazy poll that showed there was a 17-point lead a couple of weeks back, I said, this is the most obvious, ridiculous, dumbest, most inaccurate poll I've ever read. It just can't be, and in fact is not true. It is not real, and in fact, it's what you call a push poll. It is out there. It is trying to, in other words, a push poll is trying to influence people like me or you, either A, to vote a certain way or not vote at all, but you just think it's not worth it. There's nothing I can do. So that's why these push polls are put out there. 17 point. Now, why do they do these early and they didn't stop until just recently? Well, people are already starting to vote, mail in, absentee. They're already starting to vote. So they've got these polls out there. So some of these people have already voted thinking or just decided they wouldn't vote. Today's the last day to get your register to vote, apparently, if you have not done that. And you're thinking to yourself, enough of this. I just don't want to see any of this anymore. Now's the time to get out there and make sure that you get registered and vote. Vote for Tudor Dixon, vote for Matt DePerno, Christina Caramo, all the good folks that are standing up here in West Michigan, 3rd Congressional District, John Gibbs. There's so many to name. I can't go through them all, but those candidates, you know who they are. The America First, the Michigan First. These are the people that are out there that are doing it. And of course, it goes all the way down to school board races, folks. It's so important. That's why we've been talking to these candidates. You can learn more about them. In fact, a little later on today, 11 a.m. this morning, Lighthouse Baptist, the Empower Families, Protect Children bus tour is going to be making a stop there. In fact, at 11 a.m., Lighthouse Baptist this morning, Tudor Dixon and the crew rolling through in the bus tour. Shiloh Tabernacle, 4 p.m. in Muskegon. I'll be there. And apparently these are indoor events. So you don't have to worry about the threat of rain or anything like that. 4 p.m. this afternoon. So the numbers are moving. Now we see these numbers coming out, these latest polls, it's neck and neck. In fact, Real Clear Politics has said in Michigan, oh, you know what? Looks like things are moving. In fact, they're really moving. Yeah, things are really moving. I got to tell you, these polls are tightening. Why do you think that is? Because they know that Dixon is the real deal. They saw the debate performance. Now the Democrats, and somebody, I think Kerry said it in the chat, call them what they are, communists. Now they're running scared. They're running scared. Dana Nessel's out there, in fact, talking about, I don't know, I could lose this thing. We need to pull out all the stops. We'll talk about what some of those stops are and how you can fight back. We're getting into all that. The polling numbers showing now. This is out of a Fox News report. New polls show voters favor Republicans in midterm elections despite Dems' slight edge in September. Some commentators were confident Democrats might be able to avoid a red wave. But with just 3 weeks to go, momentum from the overturning of Roe versus Wade and President Biden's string of summer legislative wins could be waiting. Well, nobody cares about that stuff anyway. As long as the economy is so bad. Now, listen, I'm not saying that overturning of Roe versus Wade is monumental. But what I am saying is it's not what they have made it out to be, and it's not what they want it to be. The economy is so bad. Things are so bad. Inflation is so bad. They want you to think and look at anything else, anything other than inflation. But don't look over there. Don't look behind the curtain. Whatever you do, don't look at that. Oh, my gosh. Eyes away. In fact, Nancy Pelosi was on one of the Sunday shows this weekend, and she was making that case. She was making that very case herself. Listen to this. She doesn't want to talk or think about inflation. Nancy Pelosi.
And the fact is that when I hear people talk about inflation, as I heard him there, we have to change that subject. Inflation is a global phenomenon. Yes. The EU, the European Union, the UK, the British have higher inflation rate than we do here. The fight is not about inflation. It's about the cost of living.
Oh, yeah, it's not inflation. It's not inflation. By the way, she was kind of pressed on this. I'm surprised. I don't remember what this lady's name is on Deface the Nation on CBS, but she was kind of pressed on it. Well, what about all the spending? Because, she wants to say, and this is what you'll hear, this is a communist talking point. This is the Democrats saying, well, no. This is a global phenomenon, this inflation. It's not just here in America. There's nothing we can do. Wait a minute. What about all the spending? The news reporter asks.
But on things like sending, those $1,400 checks, putting cash out there.
That's right.
I mean, didn't that end up contributing to inflation? Do you have any regrets about the bills you passed and how you structured them?
No, absolutely.
First of all, this is the reason for inflation. This is the same reason your kids' test scores are low. It's not because of the pandemic. It's because of the reaction or the overreaction, particularly in states. Red states didn't do as much of this. But blue states, boy, the bed. They really did.
Absolutely not, because that was necessary for people to survive. Our purpose
was that it was inflationary.
The only reason these checks were sent out is because Whitmer shut down her state. Newsom shut down his state. Cuomo shut down his state. Think about it. Wolf in Pennsylvania. These are all due to Democrat policies. Don't let them get away with it, folks. No, don't you dare let them get away with it. Only 15 days to go, and they keep lying. And again, as the polls look as good as they do, and these are things we ought to be encouraged by, but at the same time, we got to come out. We got to act like we are way behind. Because to overcome the shenanigans that they've got in store, just like they did in 2020, we've got to make sure things are locked up as tight as we can get them. We'll continue our conversation next. Tell you how you can fight back. All right, behind the scenes live streamers this morning you're watching right now. Behind the streams, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, YouTube, all the usual suspects, and you can watch us. Make sure you click share. Make sure you click subscribe no matter where you're watching. Let me see what's happening over here over on my P-chat. Andrew's watching this morning. Andrew Stuff over on Locals. Appreciate you being here with us, Andrew. See you started the members only chat. Very cool. Yes. Talk about whatever you want. Nick says, can you give this event a plug for the Forest Hill School Board candidates? I can. Bum, 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 bum. All right, let's see. What is this? Oh, it's Wednesday. Wednesday, October 26th. That's right. Okay. Whoa, listen to that. Okay. Hang on, let me take him out of there. Andrew said, I promise to behave. All right, guys. Again, remember, VIPs, if you've got something you want me to see, the folks that support us over on Locals, it's free to join on Locals. If you haven't done so yet, let me give you the address. It's free to join over there. Let me see. Boom. Free to join. If you do become a supporter, it's justinbarclay.com/locals. If you do become a supporter, you can get 3 years free when you use coupon code YEAR over on Locals. That's the way to do it. Now let me see if I can show you. Can I see the chat? Here it is. This is for folks in the Forest Hills area. Forest Hills Schools area, let's just call it. That covers a pretty big patch of geographic area here in West Michigan. That covers a big patch of land. A lot of folks, in fact. So make a note of that if you can for Wednesday. All right. New poll, Dixon and Whitmer tied at 48%, 2 weeks out from Election Day. New poll released Sunday evening shows the race for Michigan governor in a dead heat, a statistical tie at 48%. Tudor Dixon has blown away all expectations. And by the way, I didn't mention this earlier, but this is right. This is despite Whitmer and the Dems spending what? $23 million to smear Dixon, to attack her in those ads. 4 polls released in the last 2 weeks show the race tightening quickly, averaging Whitmer plus 2.6, and RCP moved the number, the November 8th race prediction, this is Real Clear Politics, to a GOP pickup with Dixon at 2.5. Folks, it's getting exciting. It's getting exciting. And we'll continue again today in our prayers because this election, I think, is so important. Folks don't realize how important it is. Marge, you may want to retry Locals. Try it a couple of times, and then you know what? Send me a message, and I'll try and help you. I'll help you get that work through. I don't know what. Sometimes people have some issues here and there. Now, we've gotten several gifts, and they're horrible stories, but there's several gifts in the last couple of weeks. Michelle, no, that's wrong. There was no primary race. It was done just like the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, is done at convention. And so, no, I wouldn't listen to that. There's a lot of just chatter and craziness out there. But the 3 who need to be voted in have to be Dixon, DePerno, and Christina Caramo, another rock star. They have to be voted in, and more importantly, the 3 that are in have to be gone. Whitmer, Nessel, Benson. Oh, and by the way, the 3 proposals have to be defeated. They have to be defeated. All right, so we'll come back to this. Coming up here in just a second. Let me see what I have for you. Yeah, that's the same thing. I was going to show you one other thing. All right, stand by. We'll get into it. Hang on, folks. Big news on Fauci and the Rona Report 2 coming up this morning. All right. This. We'll take a phone call or two when we come back. Stand by. No, no, no. That's right, Mike. No, no, no. Vote no, no, no. Nice fire last night. Hey, we did have a good time. Thank you, Eyes Wide Open. Appreciate you saying that. We had a great time over on Locals last night, a fireside chat. More of that coming up on the exclusive. Gonna grab a couple of quick phone calls as well. You can jump on the phone with us at 616-774-2424. That's the number to join in. And also, you can use the talkback feature. The iHeartRadio app, just click that microphone and we'll get into it. Rant, rave, ask questions, and many other things. Mike is on the phone this morning. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Good, Justin. About yourself?
Wonderful, man.
Justin, I just a couple quick things. Again, here we go. People don't, care about the January 6th, global warming and a Green Deal and whatever. They care about the things that have done.
Mm-hmm.
They want to have money for gas so they can go to work,
right?
So they can pay their mortgage, utilities, buy groceries, and maybe have a little left over. I think they're a day late and $1 short. It's pretty much writing on the wall. I just want to say that, meanwhile, it looks like the Mississippi's going dry. That's not going to help with prices of anything. I tell people, take advantage of that mail-in vote if you can't get out. We need everybody and anybody, Justin, this time. We got to make it happen.
Mike, I appreciate it. You're absolutely right. Thanks for the call. An interesting point there. I didn't even get to it today, but it is. It was part of the Friday news dump. Trump, they want to subpoena Trump to testify in front of the January 6th committee, and until he said, wait a minute, I kind of like this idea. He said, yeah, he would do it. He would absolutely do it. He would look forward to it. And then, what's her name? Liz Cheney came out and said, well, we wouldn't do it live. We would not do it live. Oh, you did all these other hearings and everything live, and you did it on prime time television. And this would be the most watched, probably of all time hearing. The most watched hearing of all time. They would not do this thing live? Why is that? Would they want to deceptively edit the thing? No, I'm sure that can't be it. How about this for a poll? Tudor Dixon's rally over the weekend at an orchard, over 700, almost 1,000 people showing up. These are estimates of the crowd to be a part of that rally. Whitmer is out and she is getting nervous. She's getting antsy. Nobody showing up to her events. That's because she doesn't even tell people where she's going to be. She doesn't face anyone. She doesn't really have to answer for any of the things she did over the last couple of years, except for the fact when Dixon held her feet to the fire during the debate. That's been about all that she's had to really face any of the heat. How about this? This is new. Just the other day, this story: Whitmer vetoes GOP-backed legislation to limit governors' emergency powers. Well, why wouldn't she? She got plans to use these again. She vetoed legislation last week, which would have given Michigan lawmakers the final say on whether emergency orders issued by the executive branch can last no longer than 28 days. The governor vetoed 8 bills. 8 bills of a 30-bill plan introduced by House Republicans to set timeframes for emergency powers and to move forward and toward what members of the caucus say would strengthen legislative oversight and remove unnecessary laws. She said no. Vetoing the bills. And again, we saw a couple of major announcements last week. Tudor Dixon endorsed by not only the Detroit News, which is their editorial board, but also Tulsi Gabbard. And now we see the poll that just came out late last night. Robert Cahaley from Trafalgar, new MI News source in Trafalgar poll, shows incumbent Whitmer and Dixon challenger in a statistical tie, 48%. Big news, folks. And if you're not hearing this covered on your news station, you got to wonder why. What are they really interested in giving the news, or are they just trying to give you talking points? A statistical tie. There is a tie at 48% for the two. And of course, we've just been talking about the red wave, yet still to come here in America. And it's because of what Mike just mentioned. It doesn't matter, this January 6th stuff, climate change or whatever they say is going to happen. None of these things, as they try and scare the you-know-what out of you, and maybe they'll try and bring COVID back. I don't know, but it does not matter. The things that people are concerned with, you got to realize this. It doesn't matter. It's not Republicans, Democrats. What folks are most concerned with is what they're facing and the pain they're feeling right now. That's the cost of everything from gas to groceries has gone through the roof. And folks, I've got a horrible story. I mean, this is really, really concerning. In fact, I will talk more about it in the after show. But do you know that we only have 25 days of diesel supply left? The story I read this morning said the shortage could cripple the economy. Further cripple it? I think the word you're looking for is incapacitate, paralyze. The United States is down to 25 days of diesel supply as a top White House official declared the stockpile levels to be unacceptably low. What happens if we run out? Oh, I don't know. Gee, everything runs on and with diesel. Everything runs on and with diesel. Everything that you get. The food that you buy at the store from any sort of product that you might forget Christmas. That's not what we're talking about, folks. We're talking about whether or not you're going to be able to eat or not. These are important subjects. And of course, who's covering it? Have you heard anything about that today? Have you heard anything about that story today? Oh, I guess not. Now, the thing is, it's too much important going on right now for you to hear about. What else are they covering? Anything that's, football and, the World Series. Oh, that's great. And look, I like these things too. But, folks, these are serious times. We've got troops. Here's the other story you probably haven't heard of. Troops amassing right now on the border with Ukraine. American troops, U.S. troops on the border of Ukraine. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit as well. Steve Redmond joins us. Big event tomorrow night in Holland, Lighthouse Baptist and the Ottawa County Patriots. Appreciate you being here with us today. Steve, how are you?
I'm great, Justin. Yeah, it is a big event. It's tomorrow night, Tuesday, October 25, 6 to 9 p.m. Doors open at 5:30. And we're going to have speakers before and after the debate. And in the middle of the show, as per your suggestion, we're going to be live streaming the Dixon-Whitmer debate, and then we'll go back to speakers after it. But we're going to cover all the key election issues, update on challenges to election integrity in Michigan. Ryan Kelly will speak about 2 radical ballot initiatives. We got Pat Colbeck zooming in, and we're going to kick off a thing called Project Overwatch. It was a brainchild of Pat Colbeck. We're going to monitor all the drop boxes for votes in Ottawa County, and we're signing people up. We've already been signing them up, and we'll sign them up and give them final instructions tomorrow night at the meeting. So if you want to help monitor the drop vote boxes in Ottawa County, come to the meeting tomorrow night.
Big news tomorrow, watch party. And not a lot of folks have actually talked about it because the action-packed watch party, or the first debate, the watch party set to happen tomorrow at the Ottawa County Patriots. You can come out here from these speakers, like Steve has said. They always have a great time. You're definitely going to learn something, and you'll be able to take away some things and move and get some action. Of course, that's what we need in this fight. But you'll be able to watch the debate together with a group of like-minded folks, like-minded individuals, and it should be a good time. Tomorrow night, Ottawa County Patriots there in Holland at Lighthouse Baptist. Doors are going to open, at 5:30 tomorrow?
Yeah, 5:30, Justin, and we're going to have a number of candidates for local, state, and federal offices there to meet directly with the public. There's a number of school board candidates in Ottawa County, some county commission candidates, even three. They won't be there, but their information will be there. Three people are running for the Jamestown Library Board. That's the library board that's doubling down on pornography for children in the library. And so we've got local, state, and national candidates that will either be speaking or present for the voters to meet with them, and lots of opportunities to get involved in these next 2 weeks, helping in many different ways the candidates to get out the vote. And that'll be all there tomorrow night. And you're one of our featured speakers, along with Pat Kobeck, Ryan Kelly, and others.
It's going to be another great time. And Steve, I definitely appreciate all you do. Obviously, OttawaCountyPatriots.org is the website, OttawaCountyPatriots.org. If you want to keep up on that event or many others that they have, they've got a few more coming up. They've done some showings of 2,000 Mules. And if you want to look forward to some in the future, I know you've got those listed up there as well, Steve.
Yeah, a week from tomorrow, we're showing 2,000 Mules, November 1 at the church, and we'll have flyers on that. And also, one other thing, Justin, I think I sent it to you. Every 4 years, we do a big truck billboard about the issues in the campaign and the candidates. And this year, we decided to do it even in the off year. And please put it up for your viewers to see. We're selling 2x4 yard signs for a donation if people want it. But this has already been seen by thousands of people, and we really want people to see it and to share it. It's all the bullet points comparing the Republicans with the Democrats this year, and gives you a lot of talking points with your Democratic neighbors and friends.
Now, Steve, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I think you will probably be up for this this little challenge that I'm gonna ask of you. We are in the middle of our 21 days of prayer. In fact, this will be day 7. And a lot of this has been me and the different pastors joining in to pray, but I thought I would ask you, and it doesn't have to be long or extravagant, but you know what? We're all joining together, just real people joining together, because we know how important this election is. 21 days leading up to the election. It's not just the people who are running for office, but it's also these proposals that must be defeated. And we are fighting our battles on our knees and asking God for his help here. And I was just wondering, maybe, Steve, if you might want to lead us in a bit of a prayer here for our 7th day.
Sure, I'd be honored to. Lord, we ask your blessing on America. We ask forgiveness for our sinfulness and healing of our brokenness. And we ask you to turn and heal our land as we petition you in sorrow and concern for the terrible things that have gone on in our country, the evil that has pervaded the very heart and soul of our nation. We ask you to turn again and to heal our land, because only you are the Lord of history, and only you can make the difference. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Steve Radman, amen. Thank you, sir. Amen. Appreciate you. Ottawa County Patriots, OttawaCountyPatriots.org, the watch party and speakers happening tomorrow night for that second debate, and lots to learn about. Doors open at 5:30, Lighthouse Baptist in Holland. Thank you, Steve. God bless.
Hey, thank you, Justin.
If you want to join our 21 days of prayer, you can. Hundreds have already come together, at least we know, in the prayer circle via texting at 616-636-1676, folks. Share this with other folks. You can get the past prayers and find out exactly what we're doing on my website. I put it all up at justinbarclay.com/prayer. justinbarclay.com/prayer. And you can text me at 616-636-1676. Text the keyword pray. Back after this. Oh, man, it's powerful. People are coming together. I am seeing God do some big things. We are on the, I got to tell you, we're on the march. He's on the move. And yeah, it's powerful to watch it. It is powerful to watch it all. All right, folks, let me just do one little thing here. So we got to talk about this story about Ukraine and how many troops are there. Another story that, again, we're going to dig deep into this during the after show. The Army's 101st Airborne practicing for what they call war with Russia in this story. Just miles away from the Ukraine border. Is anyone else not concerned about this? Is anyone else not concerned about any of this? I mean, it's like they're trying to push us every day further and further into this. Make sure you click share. Make sure you follow no matter where you're watching so you can stay up to date with the latest. Facebook continues to try and ban us. Shadow ban us at least. So we've started Locals, which is a really cool way for you to become part of the conversation and to join us at justinbarclay.com/locals. All right, gotta check back in the chat here in just a second. Hang on, folks. We are in a fight for our nation, a fight for our state. We are in a fight that I don't think many really understand maybe the full significance of it. I don't think they understand exactly what we're up against. It's a spiritual fight. Some do, and that's why we're willing to step up with a 21 days of prayer. Would love to see you be a part of that. Chris on the phone this morning. Chris, appreciate you calling in. You just saw something pretty incredible as we offer
I did,
prayer.
Justin. Thanks for taking my call. Just as prayer was being conducted over your airwaves, which was beautiful. Thank you. I turned the corner over here in Oceana County, Hart, Michigan, and there was the most beautiful rainbow you could imagine. And I'm going, you know what? What a sign of hope, a sign of healing. And we all pray to God that great things will be coming this next election day.
Amen. Chris, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you very much. God bless. Wow. It is no mistake, folks. No way. God is on the move. We've got a jam-packed after show. We're going to get to all of it, by the way, coming up here in just moments. We do that at Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, Getter, all those usual places. You can get the latest information, some of the stories you won't hear anywhere else. You just don't have enough time to get to it all on the show. It's the fastest hour in radio, but it's true. We try to make sure that we get to everything and every story. The story that I am most concerned with right now has to be the story. In fact, I just saw it was, I think it was CBS with this story that I saw this morning. U.S. troops in Ukraine, or on the border anyway. And the headline is enough to make you jump out of your seat. You know how close we are, folks, to seeing some just incredible things, and some of the most diabolical folks thrown out of office in some ways. The U.S. Army's 101st Airborne is practicing for war with Russia just miles from Ukraine's border. That's the CBS News headline this morning. And as you see, by the way, they've got a commercial running for yes on Prop 3, which we should be voting no on all three of them. We're going to dig into this story because I don't know if you are paying attention. I don't know if you have seen what's happening, but that story, along with the story about the shortage, and this is very concerning, shortage of diesel. We only have 25 days left of diesel fuel. And by the way, Biden, he's been out there draining the strategic reserve just to try and get gas prices low and keep them low enough so that maybe he can squeak through some of these House and Senate seats. Doesn't look like that's going to happen, by the way. OPEC has cut reserves or cut their production, which has made the price jump again. But we've only got 25 days of diesel supply. A shortage, they say, could cripple the economy. I don't know that that's the right word for it. I think the word would be paralyze. And forget just the economy. We're not talking about just the economy. We're not talking about whether or not you get, presents for Christmas and whether things will cost more or whatnot. We're talking about whether you're going to have food or not. Diesel supplies everything. There is some good news, though. Newt is out there, and he is predicting that the GOP could gain up to 7 seats in the Senate, 50 seats in the House. This is the red surge that we've been talking about. More in the Rona Report as well. We'll get to all of that, the news you need to hear, the news you won't hear anywhere else. It's all coming up on the after show, the show after the show this morning. So appreciate you being here. One more quick call. We'll throw that in there for you. Let's see. This is Aaron. Good morning, Aaron. How are you?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Hey, for all the people that want to put their mail-in ballots in the mail, do us all a favor. Please vote in person. If nothing has taught us anything from 2020, it is that if you mail in your votes, that gives the other side enough time to figure out how many votes they have to produce. Remember, they control the machines. And just another reminder, 13 million people voted for Trump on 2020, more than they did in 2016. So this isn't a, hey, let's get out and vote issue. This is a, hey, let's get out and vote in person issue because then they can't cheat. Thanks, Justin.
I appreciate it, Aaron. I've been a lot of people ask me about this, and I'm not exactly sure on where I stand. I will tell you this. My wife, who is now 38 weeks pregnant today, her due date is the day before the election day. She said, yeah, I know I'm supposed to give birth on that Monday, according to the, the due date. But she said, I want to vote in person. So I don't blame her. I understand that. I understand the way of thinking. I know a lot of people are in that boat. Folks, no matter what you do, you got to get out and vote and make sure that you bring other people to vote with you. The fight is on. We leave it in God's hands. We continue to march forward and continue to give you the latest stories you won't hear anywhere else. The fastest hour in radio just concluded. We kick off the after show coming up next. I will see you tonight, 4 p.m. this afternoon in Muskegon at Shiloh Tabernacle. And they kick off at 11, Lighthouse Baptist in Holland for the Empower Families Protect Children bus tour. A couple of West Michigan locations. More at ChooseFreedomUSA.com. Get the details. Go out and see Tudor Dixon and the candidates today. Make it a great day. God bless. All right. You go on here and check out. I've got some, looks like, got some topics as well. Okay, folks, just going to push a couple of buttons, and then we'll be rolling. All right. Here we go. Welcome to the after show. It is the show after the show. Yes, there's never a dull moment, never enough time to get to everything that we want to get to. During our full hour, the fastest hour in radio on the radio broadcast. That's why we started the after show. Give you more. Give the people more of what they asked for. Imagine that. Imagine giving the people what they've asked for. What a policy. What a wild concept. What a wild idea. We'll do all of that coming up, and of course, you will be able to join us and be a part of it as well. All right, folks. Big stories, big stack today. Let's get to it all. Let me see what I got here. We got America preparing for war with Russia. We got the diesel supply on 25 days. It says 25 days left of diesel supply. Where's Matt Harris this morning? I know Matt is going to be in on that. And, of course, Steve. Steve, are you paying attention? I think you may have even mentioned this last night. So that's up there. We have the red surge incoming. Looks like Democrats are going to get wiped out. Google is censoring the GOP Republican candidates. Oh, it's bad. Fauci's going to have to testify. He's going to be deposed under oath. He's going to be asked some questions. You're going to want to hear this in the Rona report. And Xi Jinping from China. Now, China's most powerful ruler since Mao. What could go wrong? Britain just elected Rishi Sunak, or the conservative MPs just elected Rishi Sunak as what? The new prime minister in the UK. Why is that bad news? We will get into all of it, including the latest on the census. Why did they undercount some red states and overcount blue? Oh, nothing to see here, folks. The Rona report you don't want to miss, and more. It is all coming up on the after show, which is the show after the show. But first, let me start with this. It's very important that you listen and you pay attention. One of the biggest headlines today has to do with being prepared. And folks, I'm concerned. U.S. only has 25 days of diesel supply now. Diesel supply at 25 days could be a shortage, they say, could cripple the economy. I think the right word for this would be paralyze. Paralyze the economy. Bloomberg's got the headline written in a political way. Well, that could be a problem for Biden. No, it could be a problem for all of us. The last thing we really have to care about or think about is problems for Biden and what politics looks like if this is allowed to move forward. The administration itself is calling the diesel supply unacceptably low. Retail prices have been rising for more than 2 weeks. That means inflation is going up. It's skyrocketing because supply and demand, there's not a lot of diesel. What does that do to the cost of diesel and what the truckers are paying? If you want to see where the economy and the gas prices really are, don't look at gas. Look at diesel right now. In fact, let's just see diesel price. West Michigan. Let's see if anything pops up. Let's see where we're at. Are anybody buying diesel right now in West Michigan? Do you know I want diesel, not gas. Where are we at right now for that? This is, folks, how do you think farmers are going to get anything done? How do you think anything gets to you and where you are? I mean, we're talking everything. The cheapest I'm seeing right now in Michigan, the cheapest is $4.55, $4.99, and all the way up to $5.39. I think that might be is that the biggest? $5.39 in Saginaw. Over $5 in some places. Last I noticed, $4.59. Kurt said $5.47 in Plainwell, $5.09 in Genesee County. My hubby is a truck driver, over $5 a gallon. Deanne says $5.47 Kellyanne, $5.39 in Holland. Steve said he bought 600 gallons. Holy smokes. Well, there you go. Steve's got all the diesel. Now you know where it is in case you need it. Marla says, we own a trucking company. I just got an email saying 15 to 25 days of diesel fuel left, lowest since 1993. That's right, Marla. That's the story. I know, Matt. I know you were all over this. I think I saw it from you first, in fact. So that's the story, folks. You need to prepare. It's never been more important, because if the diesel goes and they start have to rationing, they decide who gets what and where it goes and all this, it's going to be bad news for everybody. Get prepared now. I've talked about it. One of our sponsors, one of our supporters here, My Patriots Supply, go to the website, preparewithjustin.com. You can save over $1,000 and buy the 1-year emergency mega food kit. Now, I wish they had this deal when I was stocking up. They do have smaller to save over $250 on a 3-month food supply kit. But you get everything from breakfast down to beverages, lunch, dinner, condiments, everything you could ever think of or possibly need. If you don't do this, at least do something. Get prepared. Think about where you might get your water. Think about how you might get your food. Think about what you might do if it all hit the fan and it went south. While everybody else is busy raising their price, them, the sales constantly happening at My Patriot Supply. Again, the website, preparewithjustin.com. That's preparewithjustin.com. Folks, get ready. We don't know what's coming. We don't know what we face. Possible war with Russia, according to CBS. 25 days of diesel fuel. Where's Mayor Pete? Prue says. Yeah, great point. Well, he and Energy Secretary, former Michigan Governor Granholm, well, they should have all the answers, shouldn't they? Probably just want to plug these trucks in. That's probably how we're not ready for that, guys. Just plug the trucks in. Everything will be fine. Plug the trucks in. Plug them in. Everything will be good. Just 25 days left. Let me read you some of the story here. Well, first of all, I never tell you any of this stuff to put you in a bring or anything like that. I just want you to be prepared and know what's going on out there so that you can understand what the landscape looks like. Now, I believe God will provide. I believe that he might be giving us a little bit of a prompting right now to do something about it. But yes, the story is very simple. The Epoch Times reporting United States down to 25 days of diesel supply as top White House officials declared the stockpile levels to be, quote, unacceptably low. These are White House officials. These are Biden regime officials saying stockpile levels are low. Well, why is that? Aren't you in charge of overseeing that stuff? What do you think that is? Data provided by the Energy Information Administration, EIA, shows that diesel stockpiles are at the lowest level for October in records that date back to 1993. According to a Bloomberg News analysis, EIA data show the United States as of October 14th has 25.4 days of supply, down from 34.2 days of supply 4 weeks prior. That ain't good. National Economic Council Brian Deese, director, a top advisor to Biden, told Bloomberg News last week that current diesel levels are unacceptably low and that all options are on the table to increase supply. Well, what the heck does that look like? What does that look like exact? Amanda, name one economic policy Trump put in place that benefited us. Amanda, you're about ready to not be able to get food or anything else. And you're still fixated on Trump? You're still fixated? Is this Trump derangement syndrome? Is this real? I'm telling you that we're running out of diesel. This is not Trump. This is Biden. Here's the policy that benefited us. We had gas. We had fuel. You people cannot be this brain dead. For the love of Pete, when your kids are starving, you're going to look back and say, oh my gosh, that crazy guy was right. I'm trying to warn you. We had gas, we had diesel, we weren't paying an arm and a leg for everything, gas to groceries. Those are the economic policies that benefited us. We had energy independence. Amanda, wake up. Isn't Trump in your overview? Oh, you mean because it's in the headline? I'm telling you, we had energy independence, Amanda. The policy was to drill, baby, drill. It was to open the pipeline, shut the borders. But now we're being overrun at the border. And this isn't a racial thing or an ethnic thing. We have drugs. We have weapons. We have fentanyl coming across the border, killing people. We didn't have any wars going on at all. Amanda, we had energy independence. If everything want to shut down, I know they want to tell you that, but it's not true. I'm not going to argue with it. Please don't. Let's not feed the troll. Listen, folks, we are at a point now. We've only got to deal with the lions. The people that are awake, we have to talk to. We cannot deal with the sheep. I love you. I hope and pray the pipeline is functioning. Which one? The one over in Russia? I hope and pray that you will wake up and many others. But Amanda, you have been fooled. People have been absolutely lied to. The store shelves at the grocery store, we've really only got about 3 days, they say, of supply on the store shelves. But I think it's left in that. We were still in Afghanistan under Trump. Yes, and women weren't being raped by the Taliban at that point, were they, Amanda? Now they are. You're not stating facts. You're stating opinions and also propaganda that's not real. Amanda, look, I can't spend my whole time today on a troll, guys. I just can't. Amanda, you're more than welcome to hang out. You're more than welcome to talk about what you're going to talk about, but please just leave her alone, people. Do not even respond. She's just here to stir the pot, and she's not going to listen. If you don't think, and let me just ask you a very simple question, and this is it. Are we better off now than when we were 2 years ago? Are we better off now? Because if you think we're better off now, there's nothing I can do to change your mind. There's nothing I can do, because this is the standard stuff that these Democrat talking points that they push out to people. They push out on the news. They push out, and then people buy it hook, line, and single. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about inflation. The cost of everything's up all across the world. There's nothing we can do here. No, it's only printing all this money. It's only spending all this money that actually caused all of this. And meanwhile, we have a brain dead We have a brain dead resident who doesn't even know his own name or where he is half the time. He thinks he signed a law for student debt. And please, this will be the next thing. Oh yeah, no, he signed it. He signed it into law. It's a law. It was an executive order. This guy thinks he signed a law. He doesn't even know. Can you defend this? I mean, I don't think you can. Listen to the clip here.
Is you probably are aware, I've just signed a law that's being challenged by my Republican colleagues, the same people who got PPP loans for up to close to, in some cases, up to $500,000-$600,000. They have no problem with that. The individuals in Congress got those. But what we've provided for is if you went to school, if you qualify for a Pell Grant, you qualify for you qualify for $20,000 in debt forgiveness. Secondly, if you don't have one of those loans, you just get $10,000 written off. It's passed. I got it passed by a vote or two, and it's in effect. And already a total of, I think it's now 13 million people have applied for that service. The other people
passed the law, passed with a couple of votes. This is who's running the country, apparently. Completely lying about this. Completely lying. This is why we're going to see a red wave. And Amanda, you're more than welcome to sit around and listen to the common sense that we're talking about here. But the point is this. This is why we're going to see a red wave, is because Biden has invited and is talking to a man dressed as a woman at the White House. I think man's probably not the right word to use. A biological male dressed as a woman who is telling him what it's like to be a woman at a time of record inflation, education in the floor, in the toilet. Test scores just came out today. Horrible. The entire nation. Food insecurity and security threats to Americans and our way of life growing by the minute. 25 days worth of diesel left. Here you have it. This is what took place over the weekend.
Do you think states should have a right to ban gender-affirming health care?
That's a biological male dressed as a woman.
I don't think any state or anybody should have the right to do that, as a moral question and as a legal question.
And then this is what we're talking about. No wonder it's all just completely. You think, Amanda, if you think this is the biggest, I'm not phobic of anything. What I'm phobic of is your children starving. What I'm most concerned with is the fact that your kids may starve because you're worried about people's pronouns. You're worried about talking about people's pronouns. You know, all the meantime, China is laughing. Russia is doing God knows what in Ukraine right now. And we have troops. We have troops on the border. Are you for the war in Ukraine too? Are you for it? You want to fight? You want American troops over there in Russia too? Is that what you want? You want a big nuclear war? Yeah, but at least we got the pronouns right. That's not a woman, Amanda. That's a biological male dressed as a woman. I don't know what that person, if you want to say that person identifies as a woman, that's a completely different story. But the fact of the matter is that person is not a woman. That's not a phobia. That's just reality. I'm not afraid of that. What I am afraid of is the fact that your kids may not. So what I'm afraid of is that we are getting dangerously close to nuclear war. Biden has even said so himself. No one's sending U.S. troops. Amanda, look at this story. You either acknowledge this is real or you're gone as a troll and you'll never return. The U.S. Army's 101st Airborne is practicing for war with Russia just miles from Ukraine's border. That's CBS News. Amanda, acknowledge the story is real or you're going to be gone. I'm giving you a quick, and then we're done. We're not going to deal with this anymore. But by the way, folks, this is why we're headed to locals again. Because it's troll-free, censorship-free, and troll-free. You don't have to deal with this. People completely disconnected from reality. My wife is she's 38 weeks pregnant. She's about to give birth to our child, our second, in just days. You were out there running, the Democrats are out there running with this idea that we ought to be able to kill babies because, that's women's rights and whatnot. Women's rights. We got to protect women's rights. These are the things that have to be done to protect the women's rights. And yet they got men dressing up as women. It's not men. Biological males. Because it takes a lot more to be a man than just the gear, than just the equipment, if you know what I mean. The reason I spend any time on any of this, people, and I want you to know that, is there are people out there who are really like this. You have to realize there are people out there who are legitimately lost. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them, but I will do what I can to save them because I have a hard time just letting people completely go. But I will show you what I found yesterday to be very interesting. Every day I try to read a chapter of Proverbs. And this was yesterday's in chapter 23, every day corresponding to the date, right? Don't speak to a fool, for he will despise the inside of your words. I can't completely let them go. I can't completely let them. I have to try. And then they show me they're a fool. I'm like you. Okay, that's enough. Run feeding the trolls. But people need to be given the opportunity at least to wake up. So I reach out my hand, and if they're not willing to grab it, it's on them. But we are facing a point in time, and it is true. We're facing a point in time where people may not be able to feed their kids. And, the wokesters out there want to talk about pronouns. It's mind-blowing. But they don't understand that this stuff is designed by China. This ideology. They think they're so important and so, what's the word I'm looking for? Educated. Well-educated, yes. But this stuff is designed by China. It is pushed on us, and the goal is to take us down from within. I love, Grump says, Proverbs 26:5, answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit. And then Carrie said it great, said, don't argue with a fool, for they will beat you with experience. We have to give Amanda grace, because if we start personally slamming her, we're just as bad as the liberals. No, I'm not personally slamming her. But, Jesus wasn't just grace. He was truth and grace, folks. So we got to give them both. Give the fools, give the sheep, give them both truth and grace. Present them with both. And we'll pray for her, and we'll pray for her kids if she has them. Or her grandmother, or her loved ones, whoever it is that she cares about in this world, could be facing much worse than mislabeling pronouns in just a few days. The U.S. Army's 101st Airborne is practicing for war with Russia just miles from Ukraine's border. Oh, no, I'm sure everything's fine. And that's because those mean Russians are over there using the wrong pronouns? Is that what's happening?
The U.S. military has added an additional 20,000 troops to the European theater, taking the total there to around 100,000. And many of those troops are in Eastern Europe. Only on CBS Mornings, we are getting a look at the U.S. forces closest to the fighting in Ukraine, supporting NATO allies and sending a very clear message to Russia. Charlie D'Agata is in Romania for us this morning. Charlie, good morning.
Good morning, Tony. Romania is now home to the 101st Airborne Division. It's the first time it's been headquartered here in Europe in nearly 80 years. This is some of the equipment they brought from home, a 777 howitzer, ready to roll at any minute. They're specifically trained to deploy on any battlefield in the world within hours.
Go, 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 go.
Ready to fight. The reason one of America's most elite air assault divisions has been sent right here, right now. We joined Deputy Commander Brigadier General John Lubis and Colonel Edwin Mathaidis, commander of the 2nd Brigade Combat Team, on board a Black Hawk helicopter for an hour's chopper ride to the very edge of NATO territory, around 3 miles from the border with Ukraine. From the start of the war, Russia advanced from Crimea along the Black Sea.
I'm just going to pause this for a second. And I want you to answer, if anyone can, or at least think about, what is the national security interest? Is it now going after all that money we sent them? Is that what our national security, or is it that Biden's got investments over there? 20,000 American troops have been sent to the border of Ukraine to train for war with Russia. We're talking war now, folks. This isn't just politics and pronouns and all this. We're talking war. We're talking people, possibly dead soldiers. And this is CBS. So I'm not making this up. They say you go woke, you go broke. Well, what happens when you do that to an entire country? What happens to the military when that happens? All of these things, talking pronouns, having some confused individual go and speak with the president so he can understand what it's like for a male to be a woman. It's all a distraction. It's all a big game. What I'm telling you now is the truth. It's to keep your mind and your eyes off of what is actually going on. We have 25 days of diesel supply left. We have a brewing war with Russia. We have Democrats who know they're going to lose badly in this election. In fact, they're going to lose the House and the Senate, according to Newt Gingrich. I'll get into that report in just a moment. And I don't put anything past them. They will do anything to hold on to power. Look at how they got it. What about the price? If Americans allow conservatives, and in this case, Republicans, to gain the House and the Senate back, they will be able to stop Biden and whoever is controlling him, the puppet master, whatever that plan is. Not only that, but they will be able to have hearings. I've got a bit of a preview into what some of that might look like. But do you think you could put anything past them at all? Pray for this nation, folks. Pray for our leaders. Pray for people like Amanda. She might be woken up, that her eyes may be open so that she could see, not so that she could see we're right, but so that she can see what is really going on. GOP could gain 7 seats in the Senate, 50 seats in the House, Newt Gingrich says. Republicans could see large gains in both chambers of Congress in November, according to the Epoch Times contributor and former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. I would say we'll be between +3 and +7 in the Senate. We'll be between +20 and +50 in the House, with the most likely number being +44, he says. The GOP needs to flip 5 seats to win back control of the House, just 5. In the evenly divided Senate, Republicans need to win 1 more seat majority, with November election day fastly approaching. We're 15 days now. Democrat optimism appears to be fading as GOP candidates close in on key races. What about the states? What about the states they'll win back? Annette, I'm sorry, just I'm having a hard time believing that whole story because CBS isn't. Okay, Google it somewhere else. You'll find it. It just picks CBS to show her. But the story is all over. In fact, I had it this morning from the Epic Times. Key voter concerns: crime, inflation, border security, and woke policies all coming together against Democrats in favor of Republicans. When you have sort of insane left-wing Democrats who believe that you don't need prisons and that things can be dealt with by just being nice to murderers, I think the average person just thinks that this is crazy. Abortion issue isn't paying off for Democrats. The abortion issue, however, is unlikely to help Democrats as much as Pelosi and other Democrats may think. According to Gingrich, Republicans are actually winning the argument because it's a question of who's the more extreme, he said. The former speaker pointed to the position of Warnock, the Democrat senator from Georgia, who has described himself as a pro-choice, that'd be a pro-abortion pastor. Warnock has sought to portray his challenger Walker's pro-life stance as extreme, but has himself remained silent on whether he supports any limits on abortion. Walker said during an October 14th debate that he agrees with the state's law that prohibits abortion after 6 weeks and allows exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. People actually think the Democrats are the more extreme in their eagerness to kill babies than Republicans are in their desire to save babies, said Gingrich. Interesting thoughts. And of course, we are seeing it all come together. It is going to be a bloodbath for Democrats. It is going to be a bloodbath. You know how bad it is? Let me give you this story. A Democrat-linked marketing firm has offered $500 endorsements for influencers in the case of Alyssa Slotkin. Do you know who Alyssa Slotkin is? She is from Michigan. In fact, Slotkin, former CIA. Let me find this news source. It was Yahoo for this one. Democrat-linked marketing firm, and Fox has it too, offers $500 for online endorsements of Alyssa Slotkin. Here's what they say. A progressive marketing firm is offering $500 to content creators. This would be influencers, online influencers, people you see, TikTokers, Instagrammers, folks on Facebook. I guess I would be considered an influencer in some way. But these are more so people that post about, oh, here's, my coffee this morning. Here's the food I had. And here are the boots I just bought from the mall or whatever it is. That's the story. Democrat-linked progressive marketing firm is offering $500 to content creators to give online endorsements to Representative Alyssa Slotkin as she runs for re-election. Slotkin, one of the many vulnerable Democrats running for re-election in 2022, is on the beneficial end of the progressive digital marketing firm People First's offer to online content creators in the Great Lakes state. I wonder if I can get some of that 500. Because you all will know it's a joke, and then I can. Don't start posting your food and shopping items, Grump says. Yeah. It's probably not going to happen anytime soon. The firm is offering $500,000 to content creators to give Democrat Slotkin an online endorsement as the midterm elections head into their final stretch. It's things like this, and you don't ever hear about this. This is quite quietly got out, that are happening all over. You see certain people posting, I'm voting this way on this, and I'm voting that way on that. And some of them, the influencers anyway, may have been influenced. My question is, who's influencing the influencers? Just another great piece about how bad things are for Democrats. Now, again, I'm not telling you any of this. This is very likely going to be a bloodbath. It is going to be very likely a red tsunami. However, we're going to need all hands on deck. We're going to need everybody that they can to come out, to vote, to bring people to vote. Everyone they can to come out, all hands on deck. It's going to be important. And of course, you can join us in our 21 days of prayer. 21 days of prayer. Needs to happen. I'm not saying to vote just because people are Republicans, but I'm saying we've got to get some of these folks, the Democrats, out who we know are bad. We'll sort the Republicans out later. If there are issues down the road, we'll get them all sorted out at some point. You've seen how powerful things can work and how precinct delegates have come out in the Republican Party in Michigan. But we need everybody, all hands on deck, to take care of this. Financial crisis leads some in Lebanon to rob banks to access their money. Lebanon's deep financial crisis is affecting every aspect of life there. There's no consistent electricity. Most poor go hungry, and joblessness is at record levels. With its currency nearly worthless, most keep their savings in U.S. dollars, which are still hard to retrieve from banks. Layla Molana Allen and Nick Schifrin look at the depths of the despair. Here we go. Lebanon's deep financial crisis. This is from PBS. They're actually robbing their own banks to get their own money out. I went to the bank many times trying to withdraw my money and explain that I have lost my job and needed it to live. I demanded my deposit so many times only for them to refuse, claiming they have no money. Bassam al-Sheikh Hussein. Layla Molana Allen. This summer, Bassam al-Sheikh Hussein raided his local branch armed with a shotgun and held employees hostage, forcing them to hand over $35,000 from his savings account. He says he'll do it again if he has to get the rest. Holy smokes. Hey, this whole don't count your chickens before they've hatched notion, I get it. I think I've addressed this in a certain way that I think is prudent and wise, telling you this is where the trends are headed. This is what it looks like for all intents and purposes. But we need to be very careful. Just be careful throwing that stuff around, because what you're going to do at some point is possibly negate all the good things. You don't want to introduce doubt or confusion into this thing. It's very simple. We need all hands on deck. We need everybody out voting. We've got to overcome what could possibly be coming. People are fighting. Those are good news stories. And yes, the trends, folks. And by the way, yeah, Jessica, the chickens are hatching. The chickens are hatching. They are hatching as we speak. So keep rolling, keep moving forward. Just stay out if you can as much as possible. The negative mindset. Why? Because the whole point of all of this, the whole point of everything, is to keep you as confused, as hopeless and helpless as possible. It's psychological operation. It's a psychological warfare. It's a psyop. They are using this on the American people, particularly conservatives. That's what all of this stuff was about. Oh, Dixon's behind 17 points, etc. Yada, yada, yada. All of that stuff. We're in the fourth quarter of a football game. We can't let up on the steam because talking heads say we are winning. We need all hands on deck. Yes, I agree with that. Absolutely. I think it's very important to recognize there are good things happening. Recognize the momentum and the direction we are moving in, but do not let up until the buzzer is buzzed. Don't stop playing until the whistle blows, so to speak. Confused and distracted, Tommy, that's exactly it. Push the ball forward. All right. With that being said, who would like a Rona report? I have one hot, fresh, and ready to go for anyone who is standing by and ready, waiting for a Rona report. Do we have any news? Do we have any news? Stay strong. Have faith. God is on the throne. And it's time for a Rona report. The high priest of hell. Yes, St. Anthony of Wuhan, patron saint of pandemics, Mr. Booster, Tony Fauci. It's problematic. Could be problematic. Anderson, I'm telling you, the fact of the matter is, got to get your booster. Did you see this? Biden set to get his booster. His brain's already scrambled, but he'll get another one tomorrow, apparently. Al, that's not true. Those numbers aren't real. Governor Whitmer's already spent $23 million, her and the Democrats, and that ad number isn't true for Tudor. All right, so and I won't go into any further in depth on what I know and how I know it, but I'll just tell you that much. See, but that is part of this what you're being told, because they want to keep you from being excited. They want to keep you from coming out. They want to keep you from voting. A judge has ordered Fauci, Psaki, and other top officials in the Biden administration to be deposed in the big tech censorship case. A federal court ordered on October 21st that Dr. Anthony Fauci, Dr. Tony, Mr. Booster Fauci, and other top officials should testify under oath. Now, they wanted this to happen in like some sort of transcript. And the judges said, no. We want you to do it in person, under oath, on video. That means we'll be able to see all this too. Well, so the fact of the matter is, this guy is a weasel. Yes, this might be problematic. The attorneys general of Louisiana and Missouri and other plaintiffs alleged that Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergies and Infectious Diseases and President Biden's chief medical advisor, and other defendants colluded and coerced social media companies. In other words, they worked with them and coerced them to, quote, suppress disfavored speakers' viewpoints and content regarding the Rona. Yes, to silence you and anyone else who may ask questions. U.S. District Judge Terry Doty went a step further than a previous ruling that forced written testimonies and ordered Fauci and other defendants to testify under oath. After finding documentation of collusive relationships between the Biden administration and social media companies to censor free speech, we immediately filed a motion to get these officials under oath, according to the Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt. Now, wouldn't it be great in Michigan to have an attorney general who might, in fact, fight for us? elect Matt DePerno, November 8th. Psaki. Yeah, that's right. Psaki. Fauci. All of them. They're all going to have to testify under oath. That's according to this latest lawsuit. Now, this is how you get things done. Unfortunately, this is a problem because at the same time, there are great things happening. There are moves being made. And yes, folks, victories are occurring. It also takes a long time. It takes a long time to get any answers out of this stuff and to get anything done. And that's, as he says, it can be problematic. It's a bit of a problem. So anyway, he's going to have to get out there and he's going to be asked some very tough questions. We're going to have it all on record and sooner rather than later. Folks, that's good news. All of these people, they should all be held accountable. They all got answering to do. Some splaining to do, so to speak. They've all got some splaining to do. Hang on, let me get this. There we go. What else is in the Rona report? Well, student test scores have fallen across the country. Results from what is known as the nation's report card released, giving the fullest picture yet of how they say the pandemic impacted learning. Well, I'll tell you, it wasn't the pandemic. I'll tell you, it was folks like Whitmer. It's folks like Nessel who allowed it to happen. And it's other governors throughout the country that allowed for these things to happen because they shut down schools. They locked kids down. And, of course, they had major issues with learning loss. Major issues with learning loss. These kids have been through it all. And they masked them up and tried to force the jab. And now the CDC is out there saying, yes, no, we need you. We need you in order for you to go to school. We need these kids to get the jab. It just doesn't stop, does it? None of this stuff ever stops. Well, now they're out there talking about this. A common respiratory virus known as RSV spreading unusually high levels. They want you to be afraid, be very afraid. Overwhelming children's hospitals. Keeping an eye on all of it, folks. Anything else on the Rona report front? Well, I'll tell you about this. He was just elected today. He is UK's next prime minister in just like weeks. The third in just weeks. His name is Rishi Sunak. He was previously the economic, what do they call it? Exchequer? Is that what they call it? He's been called the richest man in Parliament, affiliated with the World Economic Forum. So this will be great news. They went from Boris Johnson to some lady who didn't have any, and break this down a little bit further to more in depth tomorrow. But she didn't have like hardly any experience, but a couple of weeks in there, and they decided she had to go. Now she had to go because of the financial issues. Well, financial issues were caused by this guy who has now been elected as prime minister amongst others, right? It ain't going to be good in the UK, folks. I'm telling you, you will not be able to call that conservative whatsoever. What that guy wants to do, and of course, his ties to World Economic Forum. Well, of course, that's going to happen. You saw who the king is now. The king's part of the World Economic Forum. Bad news for business. By the way, here is Rishi Sunak. This is what he looks like. Britain's next prime minister. Piers Morgan. Oh, he's giddy. He's got the tingles over the guy. Look at this. You can get the clapping and everything. 2 hands clapping. Oh, that's wonderful. In his post over on Twitter. Isn't that something? Gotta love it. Oh, Piers. I don't know if have you seen Piers Morgan on Fox News lately? Why do they keep pulling some of the weirdest, just the strangest choices for people out? Fox News. Very strange. Last Friday, the story came out, dramatic story about former Chinese President Hu Jintao being suddenly and unexpectedly and ominously removed from the Communist Party Congress in China. Well, this is when they elected again for another, what is it, a 5-year term? Is that what it is? President Xi Jinping in China. Independent online researchers have identified the 2 masked gentlemen who removed the former president. They appear to be President Xi's own personal guards. If you didn't see the video, here's a little bit of just pictures that you can see from Twitter. There they are. They came up and escorted him out. That's this man, the former president. These 2 are personal guards. And apparently there is, let's see, some other pictures of them around Xi at the time. Nothing to see here. He's just going to serve another 5 years. Nothing to see here is the war with Russia escalates. China again ramping things up on their end. Yeah. It's nothing to see here, folks. There's no big issues. No, I know we only have 25 days of diesel supply left here in the country. Xi is now the most powerful ruler since Mao after this historic move that came last week. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Couple of big events. If you're in the area in Holland, kicking off at 11 just minutes from now, Lighthouse Baptist, the tour is about ready to move forward with the bus tour, Empower Families, Protect Children bus tour in Holland. These are inside events today, even though I'm seeing sunshine where I'm at. They moved them inside so you can be, no threat of rain, no issues there. That'll happen today. Then at 4 in Muskegon, I will be there with the folks at Shiloh Tabernacle in Muskegon. Love to see you stop by for that as well as we continue the bus tour. Empower Families, Protect Children. Here's the video. We found it. This is the video from last week where they removed the former president. He was sitting to the left of Xi Jinping. But by the way, I don't know if you noticed this, any of you watch it. You know the people in the front row here, no masks. Everyone else in the back had masks, and I had to wear masks on in the back. But people in front, no masks. Yeah, no masks. Watch what happens. See, they hand him a folder. They say, it's time to go. This guy grabs him by the arm. The other guy grabs him, comes over, gets the chair. He goes, no, I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't want to. No. And look at Xi. Xi's got a weird look on his face here. And he's like, well, I'm going to look away. I won't watch this. But he still kind of wants to watch because he knows something might get ready to go down here. And they're moving this guy out. Now, what happened here? I'm not exactly sure. We have some interesting ideas on this. There he goes. He's going to say something to Xi, like, you son of a... And Xi shakes his hand, nods, says something to the next guy, and then he keeps walking. What in the world is going? Of course, people realize this was something big. Something big was happening. They're getting pictures and video of it all. Whatever was supposed to happen, maybe this guy was going to come out and say, yeah, this is probably not a good idea. We shouldn't probably reelect this dude for another 5 years. Whatever it was, it didn't have a chance to actually take hold. Nothing actually was able to go down. Some speculating Xi was flexing his power by expelling his predecessor. Chinese state media reported that Hu was ill and needed to rest. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that's what it is. Just needed to rest. That was, Sherry says, where is this? That's China. Before I let things go here, folks, I got to check real quick in the chat, the VIP chat over on Locals. If you're a supporter, you can chat with us and drop in things that are unique I need to see. Wonder what Satan's three sisters will do between November and January when they lose, and Trump testifying would only make him more popular. He would enjoy it big time, bigly. That's right, Terry. In fact, I saw somebody ask about this earlier. The question is Trump running again? Well, he answered that this weekend. In fact, I'll give you, I had some of it in the, I had some of that today in the big three. Trump said over the weekend that he would probably have to run again. Probably have to run again. Again, this probably have to run again for president in 2024. This came on over the weekend at a rally in Texas. He says he will probably have to run again. So, I think it's NBC that had some of that video. Could end up setting up a rematch between him and Biden. Biden says he intends to run again. Maybe he'll be running from something at that point. We're not really exactly sure how that'll play out. But yes, that's the story. Got anything big on this? Let me see if I can find you real quick in the audio from this. Somebody asked about it. That's what that means. He hasn't announced that he will run, but he's now getting closer. So that means he's making his move. Hey, I'm probably going to have to run again. This is the crowd being fired up about that announcement.
I will probably have to do it again.
Now, look, I know he said when I talked to him, he gave the standard. I think you're going to be happy. I think he's been saying that for a while. You're going to be happy. I think you're going to be happy. This, I believe, is a little bit more of a straight up, yeah, here's what's going to happen. This is getting closer. To me, anyway, it's moving closer to that announcement. Whether he makes it before the election here in the midterms or not, this is not the full announcement, Ruth, but this is part of the story. This is part of the leading up to it. I don't think he'll announce until after the election. Well, at least I hope not. But I think when he does, it's going to be big. So there you have it. No, actually, that's not the right song. I was going to play you this one. Our theme song for the after show. That's the latest brought up to speed on the things that you probably won't hear anywhere else, the stories that matter most. More coming up tomorrow. Of course, you can be here with us through it all. We appreciate you as always. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to the folks getting us through want to say a big thanks to you. If you've joined us over on Locals, membership is free. Come on in. Join us. Censorship free. All of it happening over at Justin Barclay, BARCLAY.com/locals. You can become a supporter, just $7 a month. It's easy to do. And right now, if you become an annual supporter, you get 3 months free. Just type in justinbarclay.com/locals and join the fun. We had a great time last night with our Fire Show chat. Make it a great day, folks. God bless. Our health is more important now than ever before. Men, I'm talking to you. We've seen it for the last couple of years, how big of a focus it is for a lot of folks. In fact, you know it as a father, as a husband, as somebody who goes to work every day. You've got to be able to show up in the way you were designed to, the way you were created to. But maybe you just can't lately. You feel that low energy, low motivation, muscle loss, weight gain, fatigue, irritability, anxiety, and depression. It may not be your fault. Turns out some of this might just be because of low testosterone. Have you gotten your levels checked? The folks at Mentality can help. They've got FDA-approved testosterone treatments, board-certified physicians who work with most insurance companies. They're a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. So you can be the father, the husband, and, of course, the man in your call that you were created to be. It's not your fault. Could be environment, could be a lifestyle, could be, in fact, just the stress of everything. There are so many pieces of this puzzle that add up, but there is help with Mentality. Go to lowtusa.com. That's low, the letter T, USA.com. Go to lowtusa.com today and take your life back.